Alright guys, so here I'm gonna give the basics of dribbling, jab steps, and trying to create your own offense. So for this, let's start with Steph. And you want to understand that there are different tiers to how good these guys' handles are. So guys like Steph would be a great example of what you can do with an elite dribbler. So what you want to start with is understanding the different things you can do from a stationary position. So the first thing that I want to teach is basically doing jab steps. And this is just by using the right stick. Okay, so my left foot is my pivot foot. So we established that. Pushing the right stick to the right, my non-pivot foot, gives us a jab step. Okay, uh, pushing the right stick to the left, which is my pivot foot, gives us a step through. Pushing the right stick up gives us a combo jab step to a fake. Pushing the right stick back, flicking the right stick back gives us a fake to a jab step. Now, holding R2 while doing the jab step and step through moves gives us more aggressive jab steps and step throughs, which are great because, and as I'll show you later, you can do multiple things and chain multiple combinations with these. And an important thing is unlike previous 2Ks, you can now combo these pretty fluidly. So let's say I want to do a double jab step. See, let's say I want to do a jab step to a hard jab step. I can do that just by doing the moves in succession. So right stick, hold R2, and then right stick again. I can combine the jab step through the step through. So flick, 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 and see what jab steps do is create space and keep your defender guessing. So that's why you want to do this move in succession. You know, people do jab steps sometimes because it looks nice, and it does. In the game, it looks really sweet when you're able to do this fluidly. But understand that these moves have a purpose. Okay, next thing, so we know our jab steps. From a jab step, you can explode. And you can do this using the hard jab step or the regular jab step. And to do this, once you do the jab step, as soon as that animation gets going, hold the turbo button and then move a specific direction. So in this case, I'll jab step and then explode to my left. So look at this. Flick, and then I hold turbo and then explode the other way. And what this does is if you get your defender leaning, let's say I jab step to the right and he expects me to go to my right, I counter with an explosion to my left. Now, if he doesn't fall for the jab step, you've been doing that move multiple times, then you can explode that direction and go for a pull-up. See, you can do the same thing with a step through. So I step through, hold the turbo button, see, and as you'll realize, as you keep on doing these moves, some combinations are more explosive than others. So in this case, a step through to the same direction to the left gives us a nice hard explosion. Okay, a hard step through. Yeah, there we go. So, and another thing you can do with your jab steps and step throughs, okay, is escape out of it using a dribble motion. So for example, let me give you a hard jab step. Okay, I can combine that with a step back dribble. And to do a step back dribble, you want to hold R2 and press the right stick away from the basket. And in this case, I'm using camera absolute controls. So that means holding R2 and pressing the right stick down. That gives us a nice explosive step back. And of course, if you're a hoop head, you know that this position is called the triple threat position. It's called triple threat because from here you can drive, you can shoot, and you can pass. And those are your three decision trees that you can, of course, execute through from this position. So again, combo everything up. Everything looks nice. And as you know, if you want to execute a step back with an explosion, you can do that. And a lot of people don't really pay attention or use this mode to, to learn the controls and see what you can do with it. But you know, I find it very important to go to 2KU and go through the lab, see what moves you can execute. And essentially, there are very powerful combos you can execute. But for me, I don't go to the well with one specific move because I like to react how my defender is doing, or what my defender is going to counter with before executing a certain move. So, some very nice combos I do is simple. You know, you want to keep it simple at first. Jab step, explode to your opposite direction. Jab step, step back to a crossover, and then I want to do a step back, and that creates space. Now the goal here, of course, is to create space and create your shot. Either create space through a drive and then go for a layup, create space, and then if somebody follows you, you can counter with another move. So in this case, let's say I want to counter with a snatch back. And to do snatch backs, you want to hold R2 while driving turbo, flick the right stick away from the basket or back. In my case, that's flick of the right stick pressing down. Flick of the right stick downwards while holding turbo. Of course, you're doing this while you're approaching the basket. So there you go. It's a nice, dangerous move to counter someone that's been able to follow you all the way to the basket. So in this case, if a defender, yeah, there you go. Another thing you can do from these triple threat positions is escape with a spin move. And to do a stationary spin move, you just do a half circle turn from a stationary position. So in this case, the ball is in my left hand, and if I want to escape to my right, I just do a half circle turn downwards to the opposite direction. Okay. Now if I do a half circle turn, I can do these spin outs in combination with jab steps. So let's say I want to do a step through spin out. So you can see there are a lot of possibilities with the moves that you can make. And these are great for when your defender is crowding you. You want to create that space to be able to create a shot. Okay. Another thing you can do is a half spin. As you can see, from that triple threat position, I did a step through. And then maybe I can show you from this angle. Step through, and then I did a half spin. And to do a half spin, you want to do a quarter circle turn from your ball hand towards the basket. You can do these moves, of course, while you're moving. You can do them by while stationary. So in this case, let's say I want to do a half spin. That's what it looks like when you're moving. And it's a quarter circle turn from the direction of your ball hand towards the top of the right analog stick. And so if you want to practice these moves, I keep on how I practice my execution is I make sure I'm able to execute them in succession multiple times on command, because a lot of this will come down to muscle memory basically. So now that I've showed you the basics from the triple threat position, and you know, you can only see how powerful these moves are once you got a defender really crowding you out. Now we do the basic dribble moves from a standing dribble position, and a lot of these moves are done through the right stick. So in this case, I want to do a simple crossover. The ball is on my right hand, and the ball is on my right hand. If I want to do a crossover to my left, I just flick the right stick to the opposite hand. So in this case, I want to flick it to the right, flick it to the left, flick it to the right, flick it to the left, and you can see Steph is doing some very basic crossover moves. Now, flicking the right stick from the right to the left in rapid succession will give you this double crossover animation. And as always, you can explode out of these moves by holding the turbo and pressing the left stick in the direction that you want. So in this case, let's say I want to explode from a crossover to the opposite direction. That's what that looks like, to the same direction, as you can see. Okay.